Welcome to Games from Folktales, a podcast that mixes historical research and tabletop role-playing settings. I'm your host, Timothy Ferguson, and this week, Brunanburh, a Covenant site. One of the largest battlefields in mythic Britain is missing. My suggestion is that it could be hidden with magic, like the Shrouded Glen, to allow Covenant to dwell on a site that is filled with summonable dead. Quick quote from the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. "Never before this were more men in this island slain by the sword's edge, as books and aged sages confirm, since Angles and Saxons sailed here from the east, sought the Britons over the wide seas, since those warsmiths hammered the Welsh, and earls eager for glory overran the land." Let's frame the idea. The first king of England on most modern lists is Athelstan in 926, having taken control of Mercia and Wessex, the Anglo-Saxon territories in what's now southern England. He marches north and takes York, and then raids Scotland and Strathclyde. The next year, the kings of Scotland and Strathclyde acknowledge him as their overlord. The Welsh are pacified through a series of wars and alliances, and he also takes Exeter from the Cornish, at least according to folklore. The material evidence for that one in the real world doesn't stack up. In brief, Athelstan holds everything on the island of Great Britain in some tenuous sense. A great alliance forms against Athelstan. Its leader is Olaf, King of Dublin, who has a claim to the area around York and is able to raise a lot of Norse-descended soldiers from Northumbria. He marries the daughter of Constantine, King of Scots, to cement the alliance. Owen, the King of Strathclyde, is a Scottish ally anyway. They muster, and the two sides make so bloody a battle that for a couple of generations afterwards, when people say the Great Battle, this was the one they were presumed to mean. We call it the Battle of Brunanburh after a poem written about it, but it has various other names in English, Welsh, Irish, Norse, and Gaelic sources. Some of these sources state that the goal of the alliance was to divide England up so that it could no longer threaten its neighbours. At least one source says that it was their hope to roll the English back into the sea. Athelstan crushes the alliance, literally massacring the opposing army to a degree that shocked most of the people who chronicled it. How important this victory was is disputed by modern scholars. Some say it was a Pyrrhic victory because he was unable to maintain his grip on the Scots, Welsh and Cumbrians, and on his death the King of Dublin pops across and grabs Northumbria before Athelstan's son can fortify it. Others point out that this is where the borders of England stabilise. I've been playing a bit of Crusader Kings 3 recently, and there's this idea of the natural rulers of places. England's borders come from this battle. Sure, they're mucked about with later, when a little bite gets taken out of Scotland, and James I, Magonomia players, tries to move the Welsh border to the east so that his son gets a bigger Wales to be prince of. Basically, though, this is the bit where people accept roughly that England is a particular chunk of the island. This is the biggest and bloodiest battle. It's the most important battle until 1066. So it seems odd no one knows where it was. Modern scholars have suggested sites from Scotland to Shropshire because one of the texts says that Athelstan allows the invaders to overextend by coming deep into his territory. One site, which has a bit of public recognition, is Bromburgh on the Wirral near Liverpool. In Ars Magic, however, I like the idea that this is the site of a covenant, and that the necromantically enshrined Tremare would find an enormous army of pagan dead extremely useful. There I'm referring to the Dubliners, who I don't believe had Christianised at this point. If you want to keep Blackthorn in Wales, that's easy enough, though. Even in period, there is some evidence of Welsh involvement in the setting up of the alliance, although there doesn't seem to have been a Welsh contingent at the battle itself. Your saga may vary.